We're with architect Marc Mimram. 24 hours ago, you and I were speaking. You were on the telephone when we were watching this edifice go up in flames. It was exactly 24 hours ago, and you were worried that the whole edifice would collapse.
It was really terrible yesterday. I was really upset. Everybody was upset about the situation, but we were afraid that the structure would fall down. Today is another day now. We know that the timber got down, everything was burned, but only the part of the vault or the stone vault was damaged because of the flesh.
The spire
that fall down. But it seems that the situation is under control now. It's much better than we expected. So we are in a better mood today.
A better mood. We spoke to one architect earlier who tells us it's a tricky one, right? You're going to need now a period of reflection or to decide how to best do justice to this monument, to this landmark. On the other hand, you can't wait too long before making decisions.
No, we have first of all to make the control of the situation of the stone structure, and the part that is outside, which is the structure that keeps the wall ahead. So it will take a little time. We have to be careful about the water also because of the water that has been thrown on the floor. And then we have to put some reinforcement all over the place where it's needed. And then we'll begin the time of the reconstruction. But hopefully the tower are not damaged. The two towers are not damaged. And the walls are not damaged because the structure, a Gothic structure would push on both sides. So if the structure has been damaged, we have to rebuild the whole part of the stone, which means a lot of work, much more than the wood timber.
And how's the prognosis on that?
I really don't know, but I'm confident that we can make it as soon as possible.
We saw wood go up in flames that, was from the original building of the cathedral. And so at this point in time, what can we say about the foundation of it?
The foundation, I'm not. If the water is not still in place too long, it won't be damaged. The main difficulty was the
spire.
The spire fall down because of the heat of the steel. So it fall down and break it down and go through the whole stone. So this, for me, is the worst part. Let's say that the timber, we will never have again this wood from 1,000 years ago, but hopefully the structure, the main structure is in a better shape, and I'm myself in a better shape than I was yesterday.
Yeah, better shape than you were yesterday. I'm just looking through my notes here because it was 21 hectares of forest. It was 21 hectares of forest. For the building of all the wood that is inside the church. You were telling us how Notre-Dame Cathedral is made of wood, even though you see the stone on the outside. Where are you going to get a long beam, for instance? Where are you going to get the beams that'll go under the roof? Where?
Well, there is the main chêne forest in France.
Oak
forest in France. It's a huge one, and we can find it. Obviously, we can find it. It's very difficult because each part of the structure was made of a tree, a whole tree. But there is another question: should we do that again the same way we did it in the past? This is for me a question because this building, we have to say that it was a living building. It was built in the 12th, 13th century and rebuilt in the 19th century. Nobody knows that Viollet-le-Duc has rebuilt the spire.
The spire was rebuilt in the 19th century.
So why should we build that again in the same way? I'm sure it's not the right way to ask the question today, but we could imagine that.
You're entering into philosophical territory, Marc Mimram, because on the one hand, we're talking about a landmark that's eternal. On the other hand, you're saying it's not supposed to be a museum.
No, I'm not speaking about what we see. We see it. We have to rebuild what we saw. We are not going to make a roof top on the cathedral. We are not going to change anything about that. But inside the timber charpente and the whole thing, we have to rethink about that, and maybe we could manage a way of making it live again like it was during the centuries. It's not a landmark that should stay the same way it has been all the time. I mean, it's a question. Obviously, the answer is no for everybody, I imagine, but we should ask the question also.
So we had this call, the French president who went to the scene very early, and by the way, we'll be carrying Emmanuel Macron's remarks live here on France 24 at the top of the hour, and who made this call for people to contribute. We had some of France's richest men who've pledged 200 and 100 million euros. What are your thoughts about how you do the fundraising for this kind of project, and who gets to decide what gets done?
In France, we have a French committee about historical monument. It's the Commission des Sites is a huge commission that will do. I'm sure it will say what we have to do, and I open a discussion, a philosophical discussion, but I'm sure the conclusion is it will be done the same way it was before. And then now we have it sounds that the French people and everybody is with us, and we will find the money. It was for me a question how to fund 1 billion. It will be more than that, maybe 2 billions. So now the people of France are here. You see the people, they are coming here because the Seine, the river, is their monument, and the cathedral is their monument too. They love it, and we will build that again.
Yeah, just to tell our viewers here, below us are the banks of the Seine, which are completely pedestrian, and those banks of the Seine, life almost returning to normal this Tuesday evening, with strollers and tourists who are stopping along the banks, even though it's a relatively chilly evening. Marc Mimram rightfully pointing out that there is a semblance of normal returning, but again, it's been a subdued day in the capital, and this sort of communal sense of reflection.
The most sensitive part yesterday was the silence. Did you hear the silence? Thousands of people were there, and everybody was in silence. We were communicating to each other, and this is not only a cathedral. It's a part of the human culture. It's a part of our patrimony. It's a part of our culture. So it was also a great moment of community for us and for all the world. I think it's so.
Because we did hear a minority of anti-religious forces, very staunch secularists, saying, "Why are people crying? Nobody was killed." Explain it to us.
No, I don't feel it that way. If you go to the church or you don't go to the church, it's our church, it's our cathedral. We share it. It's a human. It's a fantastic work of light and lightness, about stone and construction. 93-meter high of the spire. The whole history of architecture has been made through that. I am an architect. I was born through the Gothical way of building. It's not only an old way, it's a contemporary one also. From Viollet-le-Duc, the rational way of building. The steel building in France and the steel building in England is coming from Viollet-le-Duc, and Viollet-le-Duc was the man who remade that from the...
Who remade the spire in the 19th century.
So all the contemporary architecture is coming out of that. So we cannot say that it's away from us. We are part of it. It's part of us.
All right, I want to thank you so much, Marc